Sneakers and Cleats, the podcast. Welcome back to the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. It is Monday, March 25th. This is episode 87. Don Harris, Matt Roy on tap. Don, how was your weekend?
It was great. Busy day yesterday.
Yeah, it was a good weekend for March Madness and everything.
Yeah, it was fun.
Watch a lot of sports this weekend?
Sunday, working. And I watched a couple of games on Saturday, I guess. I can't remember what I did Saturday. Oh, it was my mom's birthday. We went to dinner.
Oh, that's good.
My mom's 86 years old.
Dang, we should have put her on last episode, 86.
Hi, Mom. Happy birthday. Yeah, I had a nice evening out with my mom and my dad and family.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Yeah.
Nice.
We went to a restaurant out there across from the Dominion called Aldo's.
Aldo's.
It was very nice, very elegant. It's the first time I had been there, and they do a really nice job there at Aldo's.
My mom's birthday is this Sunday. It's Easter Sunday. So she hates it when her birthday's on Easter. Everybody, I don't really know anybody who likes to have their birthday on a holiday.
On a holiday, because, it's not even the priority of that day. Everybody's thinking of the other one.
Yeah, I can't imagine having my birthday on, like, a Christmas. I feel like that would suck.
My wife's birthday is on Thanksgiving.
Every 3-4 years or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have an uncle who's like that, too.
So she doesn't get cake. She gets, pumpkin pie or whatever. She's not happy about that.
No, he hates it as well. It's like, it's happy Thanksgiving. It's like, oh, yeah, happy birthday.
But you know what she's done? She's learned to do over the years is turn her birthday when that happens into like a week. Like on Monday, she'll say, "But it's my birthday," and I was like, "Your birthday's not till Thursday, but it's on Thanksgiving, so we're, you need to be nice to me today."
Birth week.
And then Tuesday, but it's my birthday. No, it's not. Your birthday was yesterday, remember? And Thursday. No, it's going to be all week, and then the weekend comes after Thanksgiving. We're cleaning everything up, and you got the mashed potatoes in the refrigerator and the ham sandwiches left over, and she's like, "I don't want to eat this. I want to go out for my birthday. It's my birthday." Friday and Saturday. Yeah, all week.
Yeah, that Jordan does that sometimes too. So
it's all right. She's worth it.
Yeah, make it happen. Make them happy.
Yeah.
I stepped in dog crap this morning, so that's how my day started. I didn't really realize it until I walked into the building today either. I did it like we all have our chores that we do. So I took the trash out to the big dumpster on my way out, and so I stepped in something. And I slipped, and I looked back, and I didn't see anything. And then I wiped my shoe on the pavement to see, like, is there a trail of something to come off? Is there residue? And nothing came off. So I was like, oh, okay, it's fine. So I got in my car, drove here, walked in the building, sat down at my desk, and I was like, something smells like dog crap. I looked down at my shoe, and sure enough.
Oh.
So then I limped, basically, to the bathroom and washed off my shoe, but while I was doing that, everyone's like, "Are you okay? You're limping." I was like,
"But it gets in the creases of the soles."
Oh yeah. So if it smells like dog crap in here, now it's cold and stinky.
It always smells like that in sports.
No.
We're not talking about locker rooms now.
You know what I did this week? This is similar, but not really, but kind of. I have this habit when it's really cold, and my wife keeps the house cold. I don't want to be cold, so I will take a pair of my jogger pants and throw them in the dryer for like 30 minutes while I shower. So when I get ready to walk out the garage, I put my pants on and they're warm, right? So I did that, and I take them out of the dryer. They're the only thing in the dryer. I pull it out, and there are thousands of brown little tiny spots all over them. And I was like, what is this? Like, how did this happen? Like, I couldn't figure out what it was. So I'm like, what is this? I reached into the pockets, and there was a Hershey's Kiss.
So you had chocolate all over your pants?
In the pants. And then it was it was like somebody spray painted the inside of the dryer.
I think it's cool that you still wore them.
I did not. But it took me 30 minutes to clean the inside of the dryer.
Luis, do you need him to get closer to the mic? Yes. Is that what you're saying?
Oh.
Oh, no, not him, not Don.
Sorry,
Get closer to the mic when you talk. There you go. All right, let's get to some actual sports. Thanks for
All right.
keeping with us if everybody is still tuned
Make
in.
sure you clean out your pockets before you put them in the dryer.
Yeah, and nope, don't step in dog crap. Also, if you're not picking up your dog's poop, like, come on. Get with the program here. Number 80. We have a lot to get to here. It's number 87, so we'll get to 87 here momentarily. We're going to talk NCAA tournament. We're going to talk proposed rule changes for the NFL. And we're going to talk. Tyron Smith made some interesting comments last week as he was doing his welcome press conference with the Jets. But first, as always, we start with our number game. 87. Who's 87? Remind you of it has to be one of two people to me. It has to be Travis Kelce because of how popular he is right now. And it has to be Gronk.
To me, the first name that popped up was Gronk.
Gronk is 87. That's what he is synonymous with. What do
You ask 12-year-old Taylor Swift fans, they'll disagree.
Yeah, but that leads to a greater question: who's the better tight end? Because that's the hot debate right now. Is
they're both pretty great,
Travis or Rob? And I think just the sheer dominance of Rob Gronkowski. He was just the weapon of all weapons.
They're both great. I'm not saying goodbye to either one of them.
Gronk scored more touchdowns, that's for sure. He had like bigger touchdown numbers, but Travis has the more receptions, has the more yards, has the more consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, and et cetera, et cetera. So
Gronk has the most rings, but Kelsey's catching him.
Yeah, exactly. Catching Kelsey, get it? You ever watch that show? No. Okay, good. Yeah, me either.
What is that? Like a reality show?
Yeah, his first couple of years in the league, he had like a Bachelor type show. It was called Catching Kelsey.
Has Taylor seen it?
I don't know, but it was the worst thing ever on TV. So he regrets it to this day. Those are the two names that come to mind for me. I think that they're both probably top 5 tight ends in the history of football. I don't think that's really up for debate at this point. Who else you put up there? Shannon Sharp's up there, obviously. Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates.
Yeah.
I think those
John Mackey.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham. Maybe he's not top 5, but he's in the top 10.
Yeah, I think it's Gonzalez and those two for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Other notable 87s.
Kellen Winslow.
Senior?
Yeah.
Yeah. His son was okay too, but Winslow Senior for sure. Much better. Dwight Clark was 87 as well.
God rest his soul.
Reggie Wayne, 87 for the Colts.
Meh.
And then also in 1987, also there's no NBA players ever worn 87. So that's going to skip at the NBA for now. And there's no notable baseball players to wear 87. Bob, you have any Cleveland Browns to wear 87 that you want to interject?
Keenan McCardle.
Oh, okay. There you go. I almost put him on the list, but then I didn't want to.
I understand.
In 1987, the Giants sadly beat the Broncos, and this was one of the closest Super Bowls that the Broncos ever had. 39-20 out of all of their Super Bowl losses. I think 19 points was the closest one, so that's really unfortunate. Phil Simms was the Super Bowl MVP. John Elway, the regular season MVP. In baseball, the Twins beat the Cardinals 4-3. It was the first World Series to play a game indoors up in Minnesota.
Did not know that.
It was also the first World Series where home teams won every single game.
You're leaving out a really big occurrence in 87.
What?
The Spurs drafted David Robinson, number 1 overall.
I did miss that.
Yeah.
See, that's why I have you here, Don.
You have the old stuff.
So David Robinson drafted in 87, didn't play until 89 though, right?
Correct.
And then NCAA tournament, Indiana defeated Syracuse.
Keith Smart, baseline jumper with 10 seconds left.
74-73. That was one of Bobby Knight's teams.
Great game.
God rest his soul.
Gosh, that was a great game.
And then, you remember that game that distinctly?
Very well.
Do you?
Yeah. That was over Derek Coleman and Ronnie Cycli's Syracuse squad. Sherman Douglas at the point. Yeah, they were good. Syracuse was really good all year.
Couple of good teams there. Lakers beat the Celtics. I think this was the second time they beat the Celtics in 87, 4-2. And then the Valero Texas Open, Tom Watson won the Valero Texas Open that year. So
87 Lakers Celtics was the baby junior, the skyhook.
Oh, was it?
Game 4. You know what's interesting about that game? Magic hits the game winner after the ball went out of bounds. So the Celtics were shooting free throws that could have put them up 2 instead of just 1. They missed the free throw, and it went out of bounds off 2 guys. It was clearly off a Laker, but they gave the ball to the Lakers and said it was off Kevin McHale. Had there been replay, there's a really good chance the Celtics win that series. Instead, they give it to the Lakers. Magic hits the hook. Rest is history.
That's why we love technology. All right, let's get to the madness. So this weekend was actually relatively drama-free outside of Kentucky losing and Baylor losing. I mean, Baylor lost to a 6 seed. It's not like they lost to a 14. So I think of that a little bit kind of drama-free there. But when you look
at the Creighton game was a great game. Did you watch that?
The Creighton versus Oregon game, right? Oregon, yeah. Colorado played Marquette.
And A&M Houston was epic.
That was last night's capper of the weekend was the Houston A&M game. That was an instant classic. Like, that game was phenomenal.
There were some great games.
Great games all weekend. It was just kind of chalky, though. It was a lot of chalk. No 2 seeds got eliminated. No 1 seeds got eliminated. Just 2 3 seeds got eliminated.
Duke was dominant.
Duke was fantastic. Purdue, it looks like world beaters.
They are.
I thought that they were going to maybe struggle a little bit early on against Utah State, and they ran them out of the building.
I think they can be had if you speed them up.
I don't know how Gonzaga is going to play them, though. I don't know if the Gonzaga has the depth and the bodies to commit 10 fouls on Zach Edey.
I don't know. You got to speed them up.
So what do you think of the tournament so far? It's one of the tournaments that hasn't had a lot of upsets, and usually people in those first 2 rounds, they look for those upsets.
Well, Matt, since my bracket's number 1 in the family pool and number 2 and number 3 in the WOAI Matt Roy pool, I'm pretty happy with the way the tournament's going. I still have a chance to win it.
I'm really upset that Auburn got eliminated early.
I had Auburn, too, in one of mine.
Yeah, I had Auburn winning the championship in one of mine. Wow. So that one went out the window instantly.
Yeah.
And then I think I had them losing to UConn in the second one.
I got UConn in one, Houston in the other. It's going to be close.
So
your wife is ahead of me. She's the only one.
Yeah, she picked based on colors, and here she is. It's really, really nice.
She's got North Carolina winning it all. That might end up being a brilliant pick.
Honestly, it really might, because if they go up against Arizona, which it looks like it's going to happen, I think that they'll win that game. But they had to beat Alabama first. Anyway, I think I have kind of a hot take on the tournament. I don't really love when it's chalky like this. It's happened the last 2 years, and it seems like the NIL is changing the upset nature of the tournament. We're not going to have any Cinderellas this year. I mean, the lowest seed is an NC State at the 11 seed, I believe, and they're not really a Cinderella. They're a Power 5 team that won their conference tournament and got into the league or got into the tournament. So I think that the NIL deal is really kind of disrupting the flow of everything, because you have these teams and these guys who are staying in college longer, but they're not staying at their lower schools. Just for example, Grant Forrester, the guy at GCU, burst onto the scene, had 2 great games in the tournament. Guarantee you he's going to get him or other people like him are going to get $1 million, $500,000 to go to Arizona or to Northwestern or to UConn or any. But I'm just using him as an example. Yeah. I don't even know if he's a senior and maybe he can't go anywhere. He's
already transferred twice.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you're getting those guys at the lower.
He's fun to watch, isn't he?
He is. At freshmen and sophomores who are going to now go to bigger schools, leave their small schools because they showed up on the biggest stage.
Did that happen with FAU last year?
No, FAU kept all their guys.
Huh. So maybe it doesn't happen.
They didn't keep their coach, though.
No, did they keep their guys from the Final Four?
They did keep their guys from the Final Four.
That's a miracle.
Yeah.
Because those guys could play.
They had all their starters from the Final Four.
And they get bounced in the
first round of Boo Booey in Northwestern. But I do think the NIL is going to change this tournament.
Probably. I still enjoyed it. I think GCU was a legit Cinderella that could have beaten Alabama.
Should have beaten
Oakland
Alabama.
was really fun to watch. They could have won their second round game too. They were right there in it. So yeah, I still had fun with the Wagners and the Oaklands and the GCUs. NC State's fat post player is pretty fun to watch.
DJ Burns?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to see him against Eddie Lampkin, the big guy at Colorado.
It's like 2 left tackles in the NFL.
Yeah, exactly. But
he's unstoppable. What
do you think of all the things that have gone on with, like, John Calipari now? Like, everyone is dissing Calipari because he only has freshmen on his team, and he's an NBA factory over at Kentucky. But his now with the NIL stuff, they're saying his style of coaching and his style of recruitment isn't how he's going to win another title, because it's now a foreign concept of just having freshmen on your team.
Well, I told you this and before the tournament started. When it comes to picking a bracket, I pick the teams with senior guards. That's why I love Carolina with R.J. Davis. It's why I love Houston with Jamal Shed. Senior guards have always won this tournament. Not always, but most of the time. Freshmen lose. And you look and see who melted down in late moments. The kid that the Spurs are looking at, Cody Williams at Colorado. The kid that the Spurs are looking at in the top 5, Jacoby Walter at Baylor, missed 2 critical free throws. Freshmen, they're still 18-year-old kids. And they're going to be much better NBA talent and pros than Jamal Shed. But you're playing college basketball. You're not playing pro basketball. Zach Edey is going to be the 2-time player of the year. He's not going to have much of a career in the NBA. He's a stiff. But in college, it's different. And so what Cal's boosters are saying is it's great that you sit and take a picture at the All-Star game and you got 10 guys, Maxey and AD and Booker, and it goes on and on how many guys he's got in the NBA. But that ain't helping us win at Kentucky. So maybe Cal's theory, if he doesn't get fired, is to draft the next tier down. The guys that will still be NBA players, but that might stay 2 or 3 years. Because the one and dones don't help you if you're a college coach.
Not anymore. I think that's the point, right? It's that Cal made a brand at Kentucky of one and dones. He took advantage of the one and
one time with AD.
But he took advantage of the one and done system. They made it to multiple Final Fours. They got pretty far in the tournament a lot. And he made his brand the one and done brand. That's what Kentucky was. Come here for 1 year, let's try and win a championship, and then you go pro. And then Duke tried to do it. And then NIL has changed it to the point where it's like, I heard this comparison earlier, and I thought it was a really good one. Dabo Swinney is Cal because their systems worked, but their system is no longer going to work in the changing landscape. They haven't changed as much as the landscape has changed, and that's going to hurt them in the long run, and it's still hurting them now. You see Clemson, you see Kentucky, it's the same thing.
You might see it benefit them, though, right? Like, I guess you can't make the money that you're going to make in the NBA if you're a first-round draft pick. But you would think NIL, there was talk Caitlin Clark might stay at Iowa because her NIL money would be bigger than her WNBA money.
Yeah.
So, but I just don't think it translates in the NBA because guys want to go to the NBA.
Well, that's fair, but guys now, you know how there was that movement where they were going to the G League or they were going to Europe to make money.
G League Ignite.
They're no longer doing that, really.
They disbanded it.
Yeah, they're no longer doing that because they can make the money in college.
Yeah.
And so, like Caleb Love, for example, Caleb Love over at Arizona, he's making $1 million at Arizona. He wouldn't have come back to college if he wasn't going to make $1 million. But he's making $1 million and he can compete for national championships. So that's what he's going to do. The players on Kentucky and the freshmen around college basketball don't do that now, or are going to continue to do that unless you're at Kentucky, which I don't really.
It depends how high you are on the draft board.
People are staying in college longer, and it's going to hurt those schools. And it's going to hurt the Cinderella schools, like the Jack Golkes and the Oakland or whatever. Like those players, if they're freshmen and sophomores on those teams, on Oakland or on Grambling or on whoever else, insert small school name here, they're going to transfer to bigger schools to get NIL money, and that's going to hurt the Cinderella aspect of the tournament.
Yeah.
So that's just how I feel about that. That being said, I'm very entertained by the tournament. I'm
having fun watching it.
I love the tournament. It's one of my favorite. It's top 3 sporting event of the year, especially this past 4 days. Let's get to the NFL. The NFL rule changes came out today. They're banning the hip drop tackle. That's one of them, and I'll get to the other one in a second. I think the hip drop tackle is the one that's going to cause the most stir, really, because you're taking another tool out of the toolbox for defenders when they're already at a severe disadvantage in football. So what do you think of the hip drop tackle being banned, Don? I mean, all of us here as Cowboys country here know what it can do to a player, as Tony Pollard got lost in that NFC divisional game.
Dak Prescott too, right?
I don't think Dak broke his ankle like that. But what do you think of it?
I don't know. I'm all about player safety. To me, it's almost the same thing as the horse collar. It's when you use your body to go backwards when you're bringing somebody down. Basically, you wrap up and then fall down and bring the guy with you. And there's too many times that the legs get caught under. I don't know. I think it's going to be really hard to enforce.
That's what I was going to say. I think that's my biggest concern.
And train. Like it took some time, but guys learned how to not go helmet to helmet.
Unless you're Kareem Jackson.
And they've learned pretty much not the horse collar. It's going to take some time to get guys to not just do what's instinctive when it comes to bringing somebody down.
I'm concerned about the officiating aspect of it. We already put so much pressure on officials to call everything right in the first place. And so now you're adding a new element like, did he drop his weight or did he not? And how do you enforce this without it being a reviewable play?
I don't even know how do you tackle if you're trying to tackle somebody from behind. How do you do it without taking the weight off of your feet?
Well, when you go to tackle, as long as you're taking the guy down while you're going forward, it's not going to be a hip drop. It's when you try to bring him backwards with you.
But that's the point. Like that's the point.
Especially like on a first down, it's going to be.
Yeah, first down, goal line. How are you supposed to stop somebody from entering the end zone without dropping your weight?
Yeah,
like
it's problematic.
That's the thing. The NFL does this. It seems like every 2 years where they just make the game easier to
the data shows
to play offense.
The data shows that injuries were like 6 times on that compared to regular tackle.
And I get that. Trust me, I'm all for player safety. I just am also on the side of fairness when it comes to offense and defense.
Yeah,
and defense
it's
is
going to be hard
already
to enforce.
Such a disadvantage. They're already at such a disadvantage that it's like, what are they supposed to do?
What's going to be interesting is when it happens in a huge moment in a playoff game and it's questionable or it's late being called.
So here's the thing.
That's going to be – the whole world will melt down.
Here's the other rule change that might be the solution to the hip drop problem and a couple of other rule problems that we have in the NFL. So Tom Pelissero over at the NFL Network tweeted this out today. Said, quote, "This is big. NFL Competition Committee Chairman Rich McKay told me that the replay assistant will now be permitted to correct certain types of incorrect calls for roughing the passer and intentional grounding. Quote, it must be purely objective. The competition committee has long opposed challenges to penalty calls because it essentially substitutes one person's judgment for another. This is much more narrow, but another step toward empowering replay assistant to fix clear and obvious mistakes." That, I think, could fix the hip drop officiating issue if, let's say, they make the call wrong, you get a little ring in your ears like, no, that's not right. Just pick up that flag.
Or when they don't make a call. The Saints pass interference, Drew Brees.
Yeah, against the Rams.
Not called, so not reviewable.
Mm-hmm.
So now is that play reviewable?
That I don't know. If it says certain types of incorrect calls, so I'm assuming that they have to make the call in general. But I think when it comes to roughing the passer, there's ghost roughing the passer calls all the time that infuriate fans. I know, Bob, I'm sure you're infuriated by those calls as well.
So if somebody hits Dak or whatever, and they call roughing the passer, the replay assistant can go look at it again and say, or look at it.
Yes.
And say it wasn't, and overturn.
New York can look at it, get into the head ref's ear, and be like, "That wasn't roughing the passer."
I'm cool
I'm
cool with getting it right.
Me too. I'm on the air on the side of let's get the calls right.
Get it right,
but let's get it right quickly.
Yeah.
If this takes a long time and disrupts the flow of the game, then I'm against it. But if you can clearly and obviously see that wasn't a pass interference call, or that wasn't a intentional grounding, he was in the pocket, he was outside the pocket. Those are things that you can see easily. Yeah. And so if that's going to take you 15 seconds, okay, cool. But if it's going to take you 3 minutes, don't do it.
Interesting. By the way, have you seen the Patriots documentary?
Not yet.
All the Patriots admit that the tuck against Oakland
was a fumble.
All these years later.
I mean, Charles Woodson will go to his dying day thinking it was a fumble.
And what? Holy cow, was Deflategate blown out of proportion?
Yeah.
Right?
Isn't that on HBO?
It's so good.
Is that where it is?
It's so good.
I gotta watch a couple of things on HBO, but
Apple TV.
is it Apple TV?
Yeah.
And then
So good.
Last thing I want to get to, besides the rule changes and
And what's
Marshall Hennis-
noticeable, Tom Brady's had a lot of work done. I didn't really realize that over time. You go back and look at Tom Brady throughout his career. I think he's had his cheekbones shaved. I think he's had hair transplants. It's interesting to see Tom Brady change. He's a good-looking man.
He's a
Good-looking man.
He is the guy who has everything.
Hey, what about the kickoff? Have you guys looked at the?
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Are they going to do it like the
I didn't-
arena,
like the XFL.
like the XFL did?
I read a very
Have they
short.
done that? Have they?
I read a
they
very
didn't go
short
there.
article on it earlier, and I didn't comprehend it enough to.
They move
realize
everybody
it.
way up so that you don't get a running start, but you get to at least see a kick fielded and tackled, which is what they want. They want compromise.
Yeah, if you kick it out of the end zone, I think it goes back to the 30.
30, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So I love it.
I love it. They're trying to get at least a regular looking football play in without guys having to run 40 yards and slam into each other.
I'm all for the kickoff. I love more football plays. I don't want there to be football plays where you're like, yeah, I'll go get a sandwich right now. Because these are the ones that you don't have to pay attention to. You're like, oh, the commercial's 2.5 minutes. It's actually 3.5 minutes because you don't have to watch the kickoffs.
The kickoffs have been eliminated.
Yeah, I mean, which really sucks too, because you would have never had guys like Devin Hester.
It's fun.
And
Goes
all
into the hall this year, right?
Joshua Cribbs.
It's all three phases. Coaches always stress it takes all three phases.
Put it back
Exactly.
in.
So I'm in favor of changes to the kickoffs to make sure that I'm also in favor, if they wanted to do this, of making onside kicks more accessible. Like
It's impossible to recover an onside kick.
it's 1 in every 50 onside kicks.
Make
right
it a
now,
little,
so.
make it 50-50.
Yeah,
That's the weird thing about the new kickoff is that you're going to have to declare an onside kick.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which kind of sucks, but it takes some of the surprise element. You never would have had that halftime opening onside kick
I
in the
love
Super
when
Bowl.
that happens.
But yeah, me too. I mean, it takes some of the coaching out of it, which kind of sucks. But let's get to last thing real quick. Tyron Smith made some interesting comments. Tyron Smith, obviously the stalwart, longtime left tackle for the Dallas Cowboys.
Covered
now
it for 15 years. I think this is the first time he's ever
said something
spoken
interesting.
said something at all.
He's now going to the Jets. He went on a 1-year, $6.5 million deal that is incentive laden, that he can make up to about $20 million.
You said laden.
Laden.
That's an interesting word.
If he makes all of his incentives. So let's hear those comments real quick.
Were you talking to a lot of teams actively before you picked the Jets?
Honestly, I was letting my agent handle most of that stuff. I had a lot of things going on at the time, but I just knew my main options was either going to be in Dallas or the Jets. And for the way things were looking in Dallas, I knew it was most likely to be the Jets. And I honestly got excited for the new chapter in my life.
From the way things were looking in Dallas, whatever could he mean, Don?
The Cowboys giving all their money to 3 guys.
Literally, I think Jerry Jones said today, we couldn't have, or Steven said it yesterday, something like that. We couldn't afford Tyron Smith to hit all of his incentives if we were to sign him to that contract.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I looked and saw something today. Cowboys have spent the least of any NFL team this offseason by $28 million. They have spent $11 million this offseason. It's ridiculous. $11 million this offseason. And the next best team, the next team that is next to them on the least amount of spending, is $39 million. They have spent $11 million on free agents, on extensions, on waivers, on trades, any player transaction. $11 million.
Not much at all. And they did spend it on their own guys, like their own deep snapper, who I didn't even know his name till he signed.
How any Cowboys fan can knowingly back this front office is mind-blowing to me. This is like front office malpractice at this point.
Well, we'll see. They got to draft well. They got to get their guys signed. And they got to perhaps make some trades. But it'll be interesting to see. It's not done yet.
I mean, you even look at the Dak deal that he just did.
But I don't think they're going anywhere.
Well, which people are saying is like a good sign that they're working together and they're trying to get that stuff. They created $4 million in cap space by redoing his deal. He still owed $55 million this season. How is that what you guys come to? How is that the agreement you guys come to? when you would just
They're
free
just-
up $4 million.
Well, they're going to give him the extension. It'll be later this summer. They'll free up more. But that's in itself an idiotic decision.
You have I think right now they have like $9 million in cap space, something like that, the lowest in the NFL.
They're trying to get to a place where they can where they can do CDs extension.
They don't have enough cap space to sign their rookies at this point.
No, I know.
Like it's ridiculous. I don't understand what they're doing. They hopefully
No one does.
They hopefully have a plan, but I am hard pressed to see one because it is ridiculous what the Dallas Cowboys front office is doing. Absolutely ridiculous. Right? Yep.
I believe you. I'm with you 100%.
Just sitting here talking to myself.
I'm distracted because I just got a text from Greg Abbott, who I don't know. I know you're busy, so I'll keep this short. Can I count on you to watch this video message now?
You should send that to the fishing department.
We don't talk politics on this show.
Not at all. That is something we stay away from. By the way, everybody who hasn't seen the news, Wemby is out tonight.
He is.
He will not play with the Spurs.
He's at 63 games, needs to play in 2 more to become eligible for the Rookie of the Year, which he is going to win. If he is not on one of the 3 all-defense teams, it's going to be an absolute crime. And I think he should finish first or second in Defensive Player of the Year. The big question is he one of the best 15 players in the league to be All-NBA? Because they do that now regardless of position.
Yeah, that's a change this year that I didn't know about.
It's close.
I think he is. I think he's a top 15 player in the NBA right now.
Well, I mean, we all see it that he's going to be, but was he this year? When you talk about the years that Luka, Sabonis, the kid in Indiana, Halliburton, the 2 guys in Minnesota, I mean, you can get to 15 pretty quick.
But Cat's not going to be eligible.
True. And neither is
Joel.
Embiid. Yeah.
So that creates 2 spots right there.
You could get to 15 pretty quick, though.
Yeah, you could get to 15 pretty quick. I mean, how many guys are going to meet the 65-game threshold? Like Bradley Beal won't get there. I think KD's been healthy for pretty much the entire year, so he'll get on one. LeBron, you'll see how many games he ends up playing in. So
you got Kawhi. There's some really good players.
I said this on Thursday with Zach. I think it's a crime that Wemby isn't going to be the Defensive Player of the Year.
Total crime.
He is the best defensive player in the NBA.
His stocks, numbers, combined blocks and steals is going to win by the largest margin in NBA history.
And the only reason he's not going to get it is because his team sucks.
And he's a rookie.
That shouldn't matter, though.
Shouldn't, but it does.
But I feel like they're giving it to Rudy Gobert because he is a really good defensive player. That's nothing against Rudy Gobert.
And because he cried the one time he didn't get it.
And because his team is really good. His team is really good, so he's going to get the... You can't give it to the best player on a bad team, I guess.
Enjoy it, Rudy, because after this, it's going to be 10 years in a row for you-know-who.
Yeah, unless the Spurs go 15-60 again next year.
I don't see that happening.
We also thought they were going to win more than 30 games this year.
So they're going to win 40.
Yeah, I know. What idiots we look like.
Well, what idiots they looked like sticking with Sohan at the point for 40 games.
He is the... I don't want to get off on a tangent on Sohan, but he is the most erratic, confounding player
He's an interesting
I've ever seen.
Player and person.
So much potential and just mind-numbing mistakes. God, it's annoying to watch. All right, that's all we got for you today.
A lot of room for growth.
A lot of room for growth. Maybe you should watch a basketball game every once in a while, see how people actually play. That's all we got for today on this sneakers in this edition of the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. I never noticed that there's extension cords coming out of the ceiling. Did we ever notice that? What?
They got to hook stuff up somehow.
All right. Well, sorry, I have a really short attention span apparently. Luis is like, "Would you focus?"
Quick for Don. Roy Kazeta from
Good name.
the Palladium wanted to just say, Don, he likes the podcast and he always likes saying hi to you and your wife when you go to watch.
I love Roy. He's a sweetheart. Hi, Roy. Good to see you, bro.
Also, Dez, our beloved editor upstairs, says that she was drafted into life in '87. So that's what we should think of when we get number 87. Dez Bracey.
I want to know what happened to Des. She was dominating the bracket, and then she just took a dive in the standings.
She had a team that was going to upset at one of the 1 seeds and go really far. I forgot who it was.
She's still alive, though.
Yeah.
Still alive.
I'm not. It's all right. I'm over it. That's all we got for you on this edition of the Sneakers Cleats podcast. Remember to download, rate, review, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, tell a friend, tell an enemy. We will be back here on Thursday on opening day. We will talk plenty of baseball. Sadly, Chuck is in Germany, so he can't talk with us. But we'll talk baseball in memory of Chuck.
I'm sure he appreciates you telling everybody he's out of the country and that he could go over to his house.
I didn't give his address.
Just in case you didn't catch that, Don spelled it out for you.
Yeah, thanks for really spelling that out for everybody.
My wife always tells me, don't ever say you're on vacation.
People are so touchy. I would never even think
I know where you live, Matt.
Come see me. We'll make some coffee.
I'm going to come see you when you're on vacation.
Do it.
I'm just kidding.
Until then, everyone, have a good week.
He lives in a secure, gated, armored neighborhood.